Interface Video presents Fairhope Hospice Today. Brought to you by Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, Dagger Law, and the Frank E. Smith Funeral Home.
Hi, I'm Kristen Glazier, President and CEO at Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, home of the Pickering House. Thank you for joining us on Fairhope Hospice Today. I have a very special guest with me, a friend and a colleague, and we are here at Sitterly Law today in your beautiful office. So,
thanks.
Jennifer Sitterly, thank you for joining me.
Of course.
We're kind of, this is old hack for us. We've been doing this a couple years
Different
together.
conference room this time.
It is. I like it. I like it. First of all, congratulations. On the Sitterly Law received the Small Business of the Year award from the Chamber.
Thank you.
That's a huge honor.
And I credit my team because there's only one of me and 6 or 7 of them, so they do most of the behind the scenes work, the drafting and the meeting. So they deserve it. Yeah. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, you're nominated by people in the community that feel like that you really deserve that award. And
it's humbling.
Yeah, I'm sure. But you know what? I've learned this a lot in just my short time of being the CEO, is that you have a good team. When you have a good team around you, things just happen. And you've always had a stellar team. So
I'm lucky.
Yeah. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
We happen to find good people.
That's right. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. You know what? Let's talk about you a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
Just tell me a little bit. I know you're from this area, from the community. Just tell me a little bit about what brought you to your career today.
Sure. Well, so it's funny because anyone who knows my family, there's 3 or 4 generations of attorneys. So I tried to avoid it. I said, I don't want to do the same thing that everyone else does. And I went into accounting. So I was an accountant for my first year out of school. And I love numbers, and I still love numbers, which is part of the reason I love my job. But I quickly realized that you don't get to see the people.
Okay.
So the kind of accounting job I had was just computer, data, crunching numbers, no people. So I eventually said, oh gosh, there's this really cool field, this emerging field that's new in estate planning for asset protection, and it's very mathematical. And so I was fortunate enough to go to law school at the perfect time when all these things were changing. Yeah. Because 2012 and 2013 were huge years of change. And that's how I ended up here, which I love.
So what did the 3 generations of Sitterly say about you when you said, hey, I think I'm going to go to law school?
I think they were just waiting
for you to realize that?
He's like, okay, good, But clearly it's a resource. It was very helpful to have decades of experience to kind of guide me, although with all the new changes, they're kind of like, you're on your own on the new stuff, but it worked out great, so I can combine the history and the evolution of changes today. So it's great. I love my job because I feel like I can truly help people. Our whole point is to help people protect what they've built their entire life. So that's why I love working with you, because we can both help people who are going through some of the most stressful times of their life.
Right. And I remember working back in 2012, 2013 when all this started to change, and it was just like life-changing for a lot of people, because I dealt with a lot of elderly people, not in hospice, but a lot of elderly people that were facing, like, I'm going to have to go to a nursing home, I'm going to have to get care in my home, and it was just really a game changer.
Agreed.
So for you to come in at that exact time and then to build what you've built today, and you and I work together a lot, and the one thing that you always do and you always say is, I need to do this for, I want to make things better for people that are in need at that time. And so I think your message is always so important. I'm sure that's why you received that award, is because you're helping those people at that really crucial time. Now, hopefully, we're going to talk about that a little bit.
Right.
Hopefully you're helping them before they get to that time. But when they don't, or when they haven't, because sometimes we kind of put that aside and don't think about it. So I think the things that you do are so important.
Well, and likewise,
Thank you.
It's helping people go through those unforeseeable sometimes, but huge changes in their life, and the unknown. and planning for it is super helpful.
Yeah. So let's say, and you and I have talked a little bit about worst case scenarios. So let's say someone is not pre-planned and they call you and they're in a situation. Like, what are the steps? What does someone need to know? What do they need to do?
So the most helpful thing is being able to be helpful to the people in your life that can help you.
Okay.
So helping caregivers help you makes their life, I mean, being a caregiver is so hard. It's until you do it, you have no idea what it's like, because oftentimes you have to go backwards, and after someone's been independent their whole life, becoming dependent, even short term, even temporarily, is very hard for anybody. So helping caregivers help you makes their job so much easier, because if they don't have the tools, then it's an uphill battle. So things like power of attorneys and advanced directives just make it so much easier on everybody. So then your wishes are honored, your caregivers know exactly what you want, and even if it's just short term, at least everyone can be on the same page and eliminate that additional stress that could occur if you don't have that.
Right, because I think sometimes what you and I see is that this patient is in this crisis situation, so that caregiver is so focused on the care need that you can't grasp and do all things. And so you're not thinking about the bills, you're not thinking about what am I going to do after this in 3 or 4 months. You're thinking about just that caregiving piece at that time.
Agree.
So they just don't, you kind of put that to the side, so that becomes a problem sometimes.
Agree. And if you don't have something as basic as a power of attorney, the only way that you can do it under state law is to go to the court and petition for authority, and that's just a whole level of stress and cost that nobody wants to go through when they just want to be at your bedside with someone going through care. They have to go to court. They have to file these petitions. They have to pay an attorney to help them because it's very confusing. So if we can eliminate all that, it is so much easier.
Why do you think people either choose not to do that? They put it aside. They don't think it's going to be like. What do you think? What do you see?
Nobody wants to think about that.
That's
you don't want to
true.
think
That's
about your
true.
vulnerability. You don't want to think about. I mean, it's not a question of if it's going to happen. It's more when.
Right.
But I think people either don't want to think about it, or they feel that if they go down that road, then people might take advantage of them. But what they don't understand is a power of attorney can only take effect if you are unable or incapacitated. You're not giving up any rights just by signing one. You're just saying if and only if, then I have said who I trust to do what things I trust them to do, and that's it. People cannot take advantage of you. They can be held civilly and criminally liable. So first of all, pick people you trust.
Right.
But even if you have an iota of doubt, these documents are several pages long for a reason. They protect you. They are a safety net by definition.
Yeah.
So the whole point is to just protect you, not to give away your rights.
Yeah, I don't think people realize that, and I don't know how to get that message out. So my background is I'm a social worker. I've been a social worker for 30 years. So in my mind, I'm thinking everybody needs to do this. How do you explain it the way? But it's really hard for people to grasp that it doesn't take effect until you're unable to make your own decisions.
Right.
So I wish there was an easy way to do that.
Well, and you don't file it anywhere. I mean, oftentimes I tell clients who are pre-planning and hoping that they never need it, it's private. You don't have to even give it to anybody unless it's needed, and then just tell them where it is.
Right.
You're not filing it publicly unless you need to sign a real estate document for a reason, but keep it private. Just say, hey, it's in the right-hand side of my desk if you ever need it, but I'm not giving it to you now. I might change it in the future. It's helpful to tell your agents where to go, but you don't necessarily have to give it to them in advance. So if that's one of their reservations, it's easy to address it.
Because things change throughout our lives. There's different people that come and go in our lives.
Agree.
And so, but it can be changed at any time.
Yes.
Okay.
And people, as their life changes, maybe you have it when you have your first child. Then eventually your child will be old enough that you could name the child as an agent. But the day they're born, you're not going to do that.
Right.
So clearly you can revisit those documents and it might change. You might have a parent or a sibling and then replace it with an adult child eventually. But at the end of the day, just having something, and you could have layers of alternates, is better than nothing.
Right.
Because otherwise Ohio default law will dictate.
Can you talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, Ohio has a default law for anything. So if you die without a will, they say, here's who gets your stuff, whether you wanted it that way or not. If you are incapacitated without a power of attorney, they say, these are the people that have the right to make decisions for you in the absence of something telling us who else you want. So the only difference is you have to pay a lot more to go through the court.
Okay. Yeah.
And I make money on the people who do that, but I prefer to save you that money.
Right.
So that's my whole goal, is you don't need me.
Yeah.
We pay a little bit now so that the people helping you or benefiting later don't have to.
Yeah, that's a little scary to think about what the control that your family loses, at that point. So,
yes.
It's funny because your group here really helped me. My son, when he turned 18 and he was going to college, he said, Mom, I probably need to have these things in place. So he did come in, we sat down, and he worked with your team and made those decisions on his own. He asked a million questions, but it's finished and we don't have to worry.
That reminds me of my 18th birthday. That was my birthday present too.
That family of attorneys, right?
Yes. Happy birthday. You're a horrible driver. Here's a power of attorney. Because next time you need a tow truck, guess what? We can't help you.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you jumped right in
it's very persuasive when you think of it that way.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, those are the kind of things that we do gift to our community. We say, hey, if you are responsible enough that you're sending a kid to college, or you have a military family member, I like to give those through our plan van because just have it. There should be no excuses.
Right.
People who come in for the full estate planning package will do, but those people, we do want to gift that kind of responsible behavior with those kind of documents.
That's incredible.
Because I don't want people to worry about it.
That's really great.
Well, you know as well as I do.
I know.
That it's the last thing that you don't want to have.
Exactly.
So,
well, let's talk. Will you give your information in case someone were to have a question? I want to set up a time with you.
Sitterly Law, 740-681-1765. Our receptionist does triage, so if it's a time-sensitive issue, we will get you in sooner. If it's not, sometimes you'll just have to wait a little bit.
That's right. All right, stay tuned with more from Fairhope Hospice today.
Fairfield Federal. When it comes to our customers and our community, we go above and beyond to help. Our people make the difference. Personal or business banking, whatever you need, we take it seriously because we know you do. Stop by today at any of our 3 locations and see why the difference is clear. Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan specializes in banking that revolves around you.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
I want a doctor who listens to me.
From primary care to specialty medicine, we put your needs first by treating you like a person, not a number. Our primary care team will help you identify your healthcare needs and set goals for success, regardless of where you are in your wellness journey. We care for patients of all ages, with offices that are close to you. Whatever you're searching for, you can find it at Fairfield Medical Center. Dagger Law has more than 110 years of experience in nearly every aspect of the law. When we're not just helping clients, we're helping the community. You'll see us at festivals, sporting events, and around town because we live and work here too. We are your neighbors, and we want to help you when you need it. When we help each other, we're stronger. Our community is stronger. Creating a strong, vibrant, healthy, and safe community is everyone's responsibility, and we take the responsibility seriously. We are local, we are trusted, we are experienced.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our 2 locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
The Pickering House on the campus of Fairhope Hospice in Lancaster, Ohio, is a place where people receive end-of-life care in a comforting, home-like environment. Constructed in 2007 and named after benefactor Virginia Pickering, the facility's initiative is grounded in Fairhope's deep commitment to a full continuum of care, where quality of life is a priority through the end of life. At the Pickering House, our team of physicians, nurses, social workers, chaplains, and volunteers attempt to bring the same warmth and comforts of home. Located on a tranquil and scenic bluff amongst 40 wooded acres, the Pickering House delivers personalized care with the kind of compassion that you would expect, because here, patients and their loved ones are all considered family. The Pickering House has 12 ample-sized and comfortable patient rooms. These spacious rooms allow privacy and provide comfort for family members spending time, day or night, with their loved ones. Families are encouraged to use the many amenities of home that the Pickering House has available to them. The large family lounge offers a kitchen for loved ones to prepare meals and snacks. They can also take advantage of one of the 2 3-season porches with great views of nature all around. A chapel, great room, family laundry, and family shower are just a few of the comfort features the Pickering House has to offer. More recently, additions have been made outdoors to accommodate the children who visit, including a play set and a playhouse. In addition to amenities for loved ones, the Pickering House boasts the finest in-food service for patients, with a staff who is dedicated to bringing joy to those they serve. Special food requests are taken to bring a smile to the guests of Pickering House. Finally, our large facility easily accommodates families of all sizes, with plenty of private spaces for meetings, discussions, and reflections. It is the mission of the Pickering House for those who enter to think of it as a special place where peace, respite, spirituality, and love prevail. We welcome you to tour our facility or visit us online at fairhopehospice.org.
Welcome back to Fairhope Hospice Today. I'm Kristen Glazier, President and CEO of Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care. Our phone number is 740-654-7077. Feel free to give us a call with any questions, anything that you see today, or if you'd like to be in touch with Fairhope. I am joined today for our second segment with Jennifer Sitterly, and we are talking about a lot of things, a lot of tough things, a lot of good things, and just I think things that the community really benefit from what you do and the things that they really need to understand. I would love it if you know, people hear this throughout the next month, give you a call and get these papers taken care of, because you and I both see very many times that this is not taken care of, and it's just, there's nothing easy about it when it's not.
Agree.
Yeah.
It's harder on everybody,
Yeah.
especially the person themselves. You want to honor their wishes, and if you don't know what their wishes are, it's so hard.
Yeah, we, you and I had the pleasure of doing a class together, sort of at the women's conference at OUL. That was back in March of 23.
Yes.
And the topics merged together, which I thought was really interesting, because you wouldn't think that those two topics can kind of intertwine, but they did.
Absolutely.
So you were there, and we both talked. You talked about advanced care planning and how important it is, and then I talked a little bit about really caregiver stress. And you touched on that a little bit earlier. So I want to talk a little bit about how, you know, how that really does affect the caregiver stress. And when someone is a caregiver, whether it's someone who is on hospice, maybe it's someone who's even in a facility, but you feel the need, you need to visit every day, you need to be there, you still need to manage things, some finances, just some care. So we talked a lot in that seminar, that webinar, about the effects of caregiving on you as a person, and then the ways that you can kind of work through some of that, take care of yourself first of all, but then also take care of these needs of the patient. So I want to talk about that a little bit, because I thought that was a great webinar that we did.
Yes, and I especially, we have a whole pile of resources at our office that includes some of your materials, which is super helpful, because while I can do the legal documents, some of those wishes are not included in the legal documents. So you have a really lovely checklist of, hey, this is what I would want, heaven forbid I'm ever in that situation. It's just helpful to give your loved ones so that they know and they don't carry a burden on their shoulder of trying to guess.
You're right, and I think, so that checklist I love, and we use that a lot. We actually use that with physicians when we talk with residents about how to have difficult conversations.
Agree.
And so you earlier talked about the fact that it's difficult sometimes for a patient or anyone to have the conversation with someone you love because you're afraid, oh my gosh, they're going to think this, or they're going to be, so this checklist that we have really says, walk through it. What's most important to you? So I write this for my husband that says, what's the most important thing for me? So something, my condition changes, or, I need to have a caregiver. What's most important? Well, I would like to be home. I don't want resuscitated. I want you to do this.
Right.
So that checklist really starts that conversation.
Agree.
The other thing that I think is so important with that is it does take that burden from the caregiver, because I'm putting my wishes on paper. And so as a caregiver, I don't have to feel guilty and say, okay, well, now I have to make a decision about what to do.
And then sometimes, it relieves them of liability to their siblings or someone who's going to second guess their decision, even though they have to make one. You say, well, this is what they wanted. No questions.
Yes.
Right? So you say what you want, and then no one's going to fight about what you wanted because it's right there.
Exactly.
It's so much easier. But yes, for the legal documents, same thing. It's who do you want to be in charge, in what order, in what combination. I know some attorneys don't like co-agents.
Yeah.
In 15 years, I've, knock on wood, not had issues. I think it's helpful for people to tag team if they need to.
How does that work with the
co-agent? So like if you have a co-agent for a financial power of attorney, for example, who's in the best situation the day something happens to check your mail and pay your bills? They're not going to argue over, do we need to pay a utility bill? Yes. But who is there and not traveling? You don't know the moment something happens whether someone's going to be in town or not. Mm-hmm. Maybe someone's going through their own medical issue and they just can't. At least you say, hey, you're on the same page, whichever one of you is available first.
Yeah.
Sometimes they say, I want you to unanimously agree so you don't fight. Fine. But if you don't want to have co-agents, that's fine too. You can just say first this person, then this person, then this person. At the end of the day, as long as there's someone to make that decision, then when you come home from a temporary predicament, then at least your lights are still on.
Right.
So I've not had that many decisions where people can't agree.
Yeah.
Yes, we pay a bill. The biggest decision you'll ever make is, are they never going to come home to the house? Do we need to sell it at this point? But usually doctors help with that. Again, a lot of people never end up in that situation. That's a worst case scenario, but at least you have that spelled out. Heaven forbid it gets to that point.
Yeah. And I think something that's funny is everybody's family has things that happen, issues that are there. Even the best families, when you have a very critical time and it's a stressful time, sometimes those things just happen to come out. So it's really important. Someone gave me some good advice. Make sure that you put someone on your power of attorney to make decisions for you that is going to make the decision you want.
Right.
Not a decision that they're influenced by the family and, that they kind of, when that time is stressful.
Oh, yeah. I've had clients say, well, I love my child, but this one in particular may not check the mail as often as they should. Right. Okay, at least you know that.
Yeah.
So it's just helpful. And again, there's no right or wrong answer besides have something. That's the right answer.
Yeah.
Hope you never need it.
Yeah.
But if you do, at least it's there.
Right. And I think that was kind of the key of the two things together that we talked about at the webinar at OUL was just the fact that once you are able to get this big burden off of your shoulders where you've talked about it, you've discussed it, it's written down, it's taken care of.
Yes.
Then you can kind of focus, take care of yourself.
Yes.
As a caregiver, relieve that stress, set some boundaries, ask for help, all those things that we talk about.
Agree.
Once those big things are off of your shoulders, then you can kind of focus on the small things and caregiving and taking care of yourself. So I think it's just so important, and I'm so appreciative for what you do.
Yay. Well, vice versa. We send a lot of people your way who need the support that I can't offer.
Yeah, thank you.
Because we're not counselors, but you have a whole team that can, which is super helpful because we even have some paralegals here that have used, and they can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
So
Thank you for that.
We appreciate you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. You know, we have such a great community that we live in. There are so many resources. So if we don't have the answer, you don't have the answer, there's someone down the street that can help. And I think sometimes people, again, when you get in that stressful situation, you can't think outside the box. And so I think having the people that we do in the community is just really been a blessing.
Absolutely.
To lean on them and to use everything that's here for us. We have a great community.
Yeah, and just an example, Meals on Wheels, who are expanding the senior hub, they just passed that amazing levy that provides more resources than just meals.
I know.
Just knowing that exists, help with errands, help with utilities. It's if you don't ask, you won't know.
Exactly.
So just don't be afraid to ask, because you're not going to be penalized for asking. Just find out all the resources that you can use.
Last month we did a great show with Anna Tobin.
Oh, you did?
And we were talking about the hub. So the hub is everything that they're providing. And the things that she was telling me, I've been here all my life, and there were a lot of things I just didn't realize.
Well, they've been adding.
I know.
It's growing.
Some counseling they have in the home for elders who have some depression, which is huge. We see that a lot, and that age group is very prone to depression. They've helped us with getting some families air conditioners and home modifications. So it's just really something what we have here.
I love the ability to tag team in this community, which is why, we're blessed. It's blessed to live here because we have so many things.
Absolutely. Well, let's give your phone number.
Sitterly Law is 740-681-1765.
And if you have questions for Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, home of the Pickering House, please give us a call, 740-654-7077. You can follow our Facebook page. We have lots of good information at YouTube. You can rewatch this show that we're doing today. So just join us and give us a call if you have any questions. So we talked a little bit about the community. You touched on the plan van.
Oh, yeah.
I have thought always that's been the neatest thing. Can we just talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, okay. So, and you joined us last year for one of them.
I did.
We probably should set aside a few days, but right now our administrator is really good at picking out who would qualify, and so we do it through them. But the plan van is intended to travel to people who might have the inability to come to the office for things like advanced planning. So, veterans, low-income seniors, military, anyone who could benefit from us going to them who would otherwise have the inability to come here, just so that we can do the advanced planning. So we offer that for free. We travel to them, scheduled, and give them all the power of attorneys at the meeting, provided that they're competent. I mean, we do have to, I'm ethically obligated to make sure they understand what they're signing. Right. But the day that we do a plan van, we say, here's power of attorneys, here's how to avoid probate, put beneficiaries on assets if it's applicable to their situation. So we do provide that. Once a month, we try to fill a whole day just to help those people in our community.
That's great that that's so much giving back to the community, because usually the folks that you're going to be seeing with the plan van, the call-in, those are the ones that need it the most. They can't get to the doctor's office. They can't get out. They can't call you or get here to see you. So I think what you're doing is great. I really enjoyed being a part of that. Yeah. So when you're ready to go on the road again, you have a vacancy, call me.
And actually, it's funny because our staff kind of fights over who gets to go.
Do they?
They love it so much.
Oh, that's nice.
It's a low stress day because we just feel like we're helping people. We don't have to worry about billable hours for a day. Yeah. That's great.
Kind of fills your cup back up, I'm sure.
Yes.
Well, good. All right. Well, I just want to thank you so much for joining, or letting me join you today at your office.
It's very helpful that you came here. So
thank you. Sure, yeah. So thank you for all that you do.
Of course. Thank you.
Thanks for being a great partner.
You've been very busy with all your.
I know. We have a new clinic that we are on the verge of opening. The Fairhope Palliative Clinic. It's 1319 East Main Street.
Great.
So more to come on that, and we'll.
Good.
I'll be sure to give you an invite when we're ready to open the doors.
I'm excited.
All right. So if there's anything you need today, anything that you heard that you have questions about, please feel free to call here at Sitterly Law. Give us a call at Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, 740-654-7077. And thank you, as always, for joining us on Fairhope Hospice Today.
Interface Video presents Fairhope Hospice Today. Brought to you by Fairhope Hospice and Palliative Care, Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan, Fairfield Medical Center, the Fairfield County Board of Developmental Disabilities, Dagger Law, and the Frank E. Smith Funeral Home.